here's my comment in the little time we now have left on the coming U.S. elections of the year 2020. We are just over 40 days away from the elections. What are the implications of the elections? Well, from our Islamic eschatological perspective, is it Trump or Biden? And 4 years ago, was it Trump or Hillary Clinton? Who are those who are anxious for war with Russia and war with China? Was it Trump or Clinton? The schoolboy will say both of them. That's the schoolboy, so forget the schoolboy, he's useless. It could not have been Trump, because 4 years of Trump, and we are no closer to war with Russia as we were 4 years ago. So obviously, all would recognize that Trump did not want war with Russia. It was Clinton who wanted war with Russia. Is that a fair comment? Does that make me a supporter of Trump? No. It's just the truth. And now, in the choice between Trump and Biden, the former senator for many, many, many years, he's been a senator in the U.S. Senate. Who is the warmonger of these two? Answer, it is Biden who would want war with Russia, not Trump. And so in a choice between Trump and Biden, the warmongers, the ones who are lusting for war with Russia, will want Biden as president. So in the event that Trump loses the election, the implication of the U.S. elections coming up in November is that in the event that Trump loses the elections, we'll now be much closer to nuclear war. Is that a fair response? Is that a fair answer? Is that a fair analysis? I don't think there's anything wrong with this analysis at all. But you know the schoolboy. But what happens if Trump wins the election? My answer is Dajjal wants war. He wants the nuclear war. Because he wants to transit from Pax Americana to Pax Judaica. The political scientist does not know that. The military strategist does not know that. The historian does not know that. Only the eschatologist knows that. So if Trump wins the election, in the unlikely event that Trump wins the election, then we anticipate, this is our analysis, civil war in the United States. Either way, they must get what they want, war with Russia. If there's civil war in the United States, you wouldn't want to be living in the cities of the United States. No. If there's going to be civil war in the United States, if there's going to be popular unrest and anarchy in the United States, then my advice to you, of course I know the Maulanas and the Muftis, they're not going to listen to me. And those who are attached to their masjid and their Maulana, their Muftis and so on, and their social distances and their Facebook, they're not going to listen to me. But there are others who have sense in their head. They're not cattle. And they are listening to me, and I say to you, you have from now until November, the elections, to try to get somewhere in the remote countryside. Somewhere in the remote countryside where you can escape with your family to safety. Because in the event that Trump wins the election, there's going to be civil war in the United States. There's going to be anarchy. They would not want him to be able to rule anymore. Does the Quran provide us any guidance as the world draws nearer to nuclear war? Here is this book. The Quran, the Great War, and the West. This is my very small analysis of the nuclear war which is coming, and this is Constantinople in the Quran, which is being being translated to Greek and being printed in Greece, alhamdulillah. The reason why we are turning to the Quran for an explanation of the U.S. elections is because we know that this U.S. election is more important than any before it, because this is the prelude to nuclear war. Why is it that Muslims in politics, you know, the Muslim politicians, we even have them here in Trinidad, why are they so scared of the Quran? Have you no shame? You call yourself a Muslim, eh? And you're scared of the Quran? Because the Quran is it's something uncomfortable for you in your political life? Politicians don't want to study the Quran. There are Muslims who are ruling over us in the world of Islam, they don't want to study the Quran. They betray the Quran in Kosovo. They betray the Quran in the Balkan Peninsula, the Muslims who rule over us. They betray the Quran in Turkey. They betray the Quran in the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. And they're betraying the Quran in Saudi Arabia. What does Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam say about the post-nuclear world which will come after the next elections? Answer: we are now in the last countdown of history. We are now in the last countdown of history. And the U.S. elections is a significant event triggering the last countdown of history. The last countdown of history has as its centerpiece the Great War. We call it the Malhama. Our brothers call it Armageddon. The Great War is coming, and our scholars are asleep. They make no mention of it at all, not even in the khutbah, not in their public writings and the public lectures. They are silent on this subject. And this is why our Prophet said that they will be the worst people beneath the sky. من عندهم تخرج الفتنة وفيهم تعود, and they will be the centers of corruption of the people. I hope they're listening to me. The last countdown of history and the U.S. elections, because after the Great War comes the conquest of Constantinople and the conquest of Jerusalem. And let me say one thing about this, that it is a Muslim army which will conquer Constantinople. Our Christian brothers must understand this. If a Christian power attempts to conquer Constantinople, like Russia, it will trigger off civil war in the house of religion, Muslims against Christians. A very foolish thing to do, for Russia to attack Constantinople to conquer it. No, it is a Muslim army which will conquer Constantinople. And it is a Muslim army which will conquer Jerusalem, because our Prophet said, Allah's blessings be upon him, لَتُقَاتِلُنَّ الْيَهُودِ وَلَتَقْتُلُنَّهُمْ حَتَّى يَقُولُ الْحَجَرُ يَا مُسْلِمْ هَذَا يَهُودِيٌّ وَرَيْفَ تَعَلَى فَاقْتُلْ. I'm sorry I have to speak so rapidly. You will most certainly fight the Jews, and you will kill them, you will conquer them, you will defeat them, to such an extent that the stones and the rocks will speak and say, Muslim, there's a Jew hiding behind me. Which Jew? The Jew who is the oppressor, not the Jew who is standing upright for righteous conduct. There's a Jew hiding behind me, so come and kill him, because he ought to be killed as an oppressor. So it is a Muslim army which will conquer Jerusalem, and a Muslim army which will conquer Constantinople. And so the end of history, the last countdown of history, is a time which you see the Ummah of Muhammad rising once again in two parts of the world, in Constantinople and in Jerusalem. And that paves the way for Nabi Isa alayhi salam, Jesus, to return. And this is all that we have for today, because time